What is up, folks? You have asked for it. So today we're going to dive into some more maintenance on the RC Fishing Surfer. I've got some stuff to do on both of them. I have two of them here. This one I just swapped out the motors on. That one I need to swap out the brains, and that's going to be a little intense. So stick around. Alright, so here we have basically your GPS module and your brains that send the signal to your engine controls, or ECU. I did have a bad ECU on that one. I had to swap out this morning. I did not get it on video, unfortunately, but we're going to break this one down and I'll show you how. Alright, so as you can see here, I have a 17mm wrench. This is for taking off the nut. Let's bring that down here. Taking off the nut down there that hold the motors in. Also, I have just a little cobalt screwdriver set. I highly recommend getting one of these because you're going to need this. You're going to need that little Allen key there. That's a size 2, or excuse me, 20. Is that 20? 20. And this is a small Phillips number 2. You'll also need, if you're going to take off the motors, you'll need a 7mm. And the cobalt set I bought came with this handy dandy little finger tightener. Works really good. So let's get into it. Push this one out of the way. So I have an issue with this one. The controls are all mixed up. I go pull the button forward, it goes backwards. I turn it left, it wants to go forward. I go to turn right, it backs up, and when I go to back up, it backs up. So I'm thinking the control module is bad. So we'll dive into that. I do have several batteries. You'll see numbers, number 4, number 2. If you have more than one battery, I would suggest numbering them. That way you don't wear them out, and you don't continuously use just one battery and charge one battery all the time. That's a little tip there. All right, I'm gonna take my helmet off here. All right, I don't know if you can see, but on each side, there we go, each side here of the RC Surfer, you have 4 screws. You have one back here in the back, and there's one over the ECU, which is what's underneath here, and then there's one up front. So I'm going to take those out and spare you the pain. I'll be right back. Alright, now we have it all opened up. Here is your ECU, that's your electronic control unit. That's what the brains, which is this module up here, sends power to here, which controls your motors. There's 3 connections right there. They just snap in pretty easy. This is the one for that'd be the left side. This is your servo for your actuators. Again, you can swap that out as well. And underneath, let's see here, underneath the brains, that's your GPS and receiver, is your transmitter for your depth finder, if you have that model. If not, then you won't have that in there. But this is pretty easy. This just comes straight out now. And it's got a 1 RC plug right there. We'll pull that out. That stays there. And then you just have these little wire connectors. We'll disconnect those and we'll take out the unit. Be right back. Alright, here's one tip that will save you some aggravation. When you go to disconnect these little connectors, do them one at a time. That way you can match them up to the new unit, because you don't want to have a bunch of connectors down there and then wonder where they all go. So one at a time, as you disconnect one, connect it up to the new unit. That'll save you a little frustration. All right, new receiver GPS antenna is in. Old one is over there. There you go. This is a handy little tip too. This is a 3-inch, 4-inch PVC end cap. Works great for putting your parts in so that you don't lose them while you're out here working. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the fun part is trying to put those back in. It's not difficult, it's just tedious. A lot of things have to line up, and I'll show you on this one here. When you go to install the new bracket, it actually fits in. You would think it would slide in like this, but it actually goes in like that, so that that cover goes over top of your wires, and that bracket fits snugly in there just like that. It is a little bit of a pain to maneuver in there. Just take your time, you'll get it. The other thing is your ECU here. These posts on either side will help line you up and get you squared away. The other pain in the butt piece of this job is putting this bracket back in. I don't really think it's necessary. It just finishes off the battery compartment, makes it look nice and neat. It does go in flat side towards the battery, and the rounded corners go towards the top. So hopefully that helps you. Alright, there you go, all back together. As you notice, I did leave that little tray out. It's a pain in the butt to put in. And when I put my batteries in, I always put the leads forward. That way when I connect it, I usually strap one in just like that. That way it doesn't get hung up in the linkage and controls back there. Save you a little bit of headache there as well. Hope this video helped you guys. Like I said, I already replaced the motors. I just didn't get it on camera, but I'll go over it with you real quick. First thing you want to do is take out these screws here, and then there's two there and there on the bottom. Pay particular attention to the type of screws. These are like go into a metal threaded insert. These up top go into a plastic insert. So there are two different types of screws, and they will not work if you switch them. I've done that. It's not pretty. So you pull this off, pull off your cage. Once your cage is off, you get your 7mm socket and pull off that nut right there. The propeller, you can see through here, the propeller and that brass piece are splined together. So once you pull your propeller off, you'll have access to get to that little hex nut, loosen that up, slide that off, and then your 17mm nut right there, unscrew that, everything comes off this way, and then your motor will slide out through the inside. There are 3 connections that you'll have to disconnect. You just put them back together and everything should work as advertised. Installation is the reverse of your removal. Pretty simple. Whoop, somebody's calling me. We'll call them back later. The hardest part on doing the motors is, hopefully you can see it in there, there's a little plastic strip. It's getting your hand in and aligning that so that those holes seal up. That's probably the hardest part, and you do have to make sure when you take them apart that you keep the weed guard and that fence together. So whatever side it's on, because they, as much as you would think they'd be interchangeable, they're not. So when you pull the weed guard off, make sure you take that little plastic strip out, keep those together. It'll save you some hassle when you go to install. All right, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, I've taken these things apart numerous times, swapped out just about everything on there. The only thing I haven't messed with is the transducer. But if you got questions, you need help, by all means hit me up, Smitty Surf Fishing, or just leave me a comment and I'll be happy to do what I can to help you guys out. They're a great tool to have in your arsenal there when you're hitting the surf. I use them for dropping shark baits, snapper baits. You just got to be mindful of your conditions when you're out there. So if you guys got any questions, hit me up. Later.